Hi, Hal. I just joined back. Bharti or Sudeep, can you able to hear my voice clearly now? Thanks for your confirmation, Sudeep. I believe that you can able to hear my voice and you can able to see my screen clearly now. So, Bharti, can you also please confirm? Bharti or Zabiullah, can you please also confirm? Can you able to see my screen and can you able to hear my voice properly? Thank you so much. So, apologies that due to natural uncertainty in Chennai last week due to a cyclone, there is some network issue happened. So now and then we are facing some issues. So I just resolved it with a different internet connectivity. I believe there is going to be no disturbance to the entire training now because I am using different source of internet. So if you face any issues, please let me know. We'll resolve it and then we'll proceed further. Aranganathan or Zabiullah, could you please confirm? Can you able to hear my voice and you can able to see my screen? To be on the same page, let me confirm it before we proceed. Aranganathan or Zabiullah, could you please confirm it in the chat window? Thank you so much for your confirmation on. So we'll continue our session. So I just started the recording this particular session again. So I will just quickly repeat the whatever the topics we are going to cover because it's going to be recorded so that you can use it for a future reference. So we discussed about a condition formatting type 1 in a session 3, and in a session 4 we are going to discuss condition formatting 2, 3 and 4, 5, and then condition formatting using a formula, and then format painter and transformation, and then multiple values. So these are all the 5 different topics we are going to discuss today. So let's start with the first topic for the day, that is conditional formatting type 2, something called as top or a bottom rules. So I'm going to just select the entire range of a cell. For a particular range, we are going to apply a conditional formatting here. So I just selected a range of cells here, and then we have to navigate to a home command tab, and then under a styles command set you can see something called as conditional formatting. So under a conditional formatting we can see n number of rule types. So we are done with the first type and we are going to discuss the second one today. So I'm going to select top 10 items. So when I call it as a top 10 items, it will arrange the data in ascending order, and then internally it will arrange the data in ascending order and then look for what is the value that falls under a top 10 from ascending order to a descending order. So in this case you can see that by default it selects the 10 values to be highlighted. If you want, you can increase the value or a decrease. I just selected 12 here. It means that I want to highlight the top 12 items. Here, in this particular range, you can see that there are 12 cell values that is available. So, it highlights all the 12 values. If I decrease, it will ignore the least value. If I decrease further, it will ignore a next list value. If I keep decreasing, if I make it as a 5, so it based on a descending order, it will look for what is the highest value. So highest value is going to be 90, 81, 63, 62, and then 78. These are all the highest top 5 values that is available here that will be displayed to the user. To make it more clear, I'm just selecting 3 values. I'm going to select a custom format. It will open a new dialog box, something called as a format cells. Here you can go to fill and you can select any of the color of your choice. Click OK. Again click OK. Now you can see that top 3 values are applied with a conditional formatting with a fill color green. So this way you can able to apply a conditional formatting to highlight the top 3 values in a range of a cell. Go to conditional formatting, you can see something called as manage rules. If you click on a manage rules, you can see that conditional formatting rules manager dialog box will be opened in a system. Here you can see that in a current selection, there is only one rule that is applied. What is that rule? Top 3. If you want to edit, go to edit and you can select top or a bottom. We will look into that option there. If you want to change, select 2 or whatever change you want and go to format and you can change the fill color format, click OK, again click OK, apply OK. You can see that the values that is the highest 2 values in this particular range of a cell that is applied with a fill color green with a pattern we provided. So this way you can able to highlight the top 2 values. Similarly, we'll select the same range of a cell, go to conditional formatting, go to top or bottom rules, and you can see something called as bottom 10 items. So it is just opposite to the whatever the formatting rule type we discussed earlier. So it will try to find what is the least value from bottom to the top. It will start providing a conditional formatting for a least number to the highest number. If you reduce it to 2, you can see that only 2 values that is highlighted in this particular range of a cell, that is 5 and 15. It means that 5 is the least value and 15 is the next least value that is available in this particular range of a cell. Go to custom format, go to number or a font and you can change the font color of your choice. Click OK. So now you can see that in this particular selected range, we are applied with 2 conditional formatting rules. One is top 2 values and the next 2 rule is bottom 2 values. Let's go to conditional formatting and let's go to a manage rules. And you can see that there are 2 different conditional formatting rules that is available here. We know that how to edit a rule. Click on edit rule and go to format and change the particular fill color, click apply. The moment when you click on apply, then only this particular rule type will be applied to a particular range of a cell. So on this particular rule is going to be top to value and this is going to be bottom to value. That is top 10 value as per the system name, and then next is going to be bottom bottom 10 value, and we'll select the next range of a cell here. For the next rule type, select a second range, go to conditional formatting, go to top or a bottom rules. As we discussed now, top 10 items under bottom 10 items, we have a next set of rule, that is top 10 percentage under bottom 10 percentage. Click on a top 10 percentage. See the difference between the value and the percentage. So I'll just read the query over here. If there are repeats of the number, then only they get selected. If there are repeats of the number, then only fine. Sajid, answering to your question here. So say for example, we are having a range with the same values. Range with the same values. Go to conditional formatting, top 10 items. Let's go by, I want only the top 2 or a top 3. And you can see that, it has the same value all the time. So one is going to be the top value as well as one is going to be the least value. So whatever the rank or a position we provide, one will get highlighted. So again, I am saying one more query from you that, so you want a mix of 1 and then some other value, right? So let's make it as 2, 3, 4. Say for example, we select like this, go to conditional formatting, top 10 items. So let's reduce it to top 2 items. So you can see that, top 2, 4 is going to be the highest value and 3 is going to be the next value. If I make it as top 3, and you can see that 2 will get highlighted. Only if I make it as top 4, so when it arranges the data in a descending order, 4 is going to be the highest value, 3 is going to be the next value, 2 and then 1. So this way you can able to differentiate, right? So how conditional formatting applies a fill color. So even though that particular value is repeated many times, it will consider only one time when it do a internal sorting to find the data what is highest and follow still what is the lowest value. Sajid, I hope this particular information is helpful to you. Even though a particular data is repeated many times, it will consider the unique value only when it does a sorting to find the highest value and arrange data in lowest value internally and applies the conditional formatting accordingly, right? Sudeep, answering to your question, so it is not limited with the 10 only. It is not limited with the 10 only. I will just show you one example over here. So this particular range is having a 17. This particular range is having a 17 values. So far we discussed about the top 10 values only. If you want to increase, you can see the up arrow and the down arrow here. If I click on a up arrow, you can see that you can able to increase the values. It is not top 10. You can make it for a top 14 and goes on. But the rule name is mentioned as a top 10 items. That's it. So I hope this particular scenario will be helpful to you, Sudeep. Fine. So as like the top 10 value and the bottom 10 value, so we have a next two set of rules, that is top 10 percentage and the bottom 10 percentage. So it is very similar to the top 10 items and the bottom 10 items. The only difference is going to be it will consider the percentage of the value, not the exact value. So we discussed about how to calculate a percentage when we discussed the number formatting, as well as when we discussed about VLOOKUP finding the exact discount value. You have to multiply your value with a 10 percentage. So that particular formula is used internally in a conditional formatting to get what is going to be the top 10 percentage. So only one value that is false here that contributes a top 10 percentage, and to make it clear, we'll create another one rule type, that is bottom 10 percentage. You can look into the only one value that has a very least contribution of a 10 percentage. And this one, when you work here, it will look like it is not clear, but when you work in a paper, that what is this particular range of a cell, out of this particular range of a cell, what is going to be the average. So based on an average, we discussed about how to calculate an average, and then average if and average if yes. So if you understand that particular concept, the same is applied over here to calculate the top 10 percentage and the bottom 10 percentage. It is very similar to the type which we discussed in the top 10 items and the bottom 10 items. We never use this particular concept in our business reports. We always go with what is going to be the top value and the least value. To make this particular concept more clear, you can see the next two set of items, that is above average and below average. We'll select the custom format here. Click OK. If you look into my screen, you can see there are 12 cells that are selected in a range, and you can see it in my status bar. What is going to be the count? It is 12, and the minimum value is 1, and the maximum value is 99, and the average is going to be 54. So the average is going to be 54. So we just selected here above average. We normally use this particular concept when you work with Excel reports. I want to see what is the average that is performed well in terms of a sales report. Out of this particular 12 items, if you look into the average is going to be 54.08. If you go by above average in the sense, whatever the value that is above 54.08, that will be highlighted to the user. You can see 99, 81, 91, 96, 73 and 59 are false under above the value 54.08. And you can see that 51 is less than 54.08, so it is not highlighted. And similarly, here you can see that here you cannot select any values to the average. But if you go to manage rules, and you can see that edit rule, something called as the edit rule. You can see the different option displayed here. So here also you can able to change it. So here we mentioned as above average. If you want to calculate for what are the values that falls under below average, that is below 54, you can select below, or equal or above, equal or below. So there are different options available here. If you come to manage condition form rules manager, if you go to edit, you can see the additional options available to format. And the next one is below average. Let's change the color so that we can differentiate it easily. I'm just selecting green fill color here. You can see that what are all the values that has a contribution below the average. It means whatever the value that is less than 54, that will be highlighted and displayed to the user. So far, we applied 2 rule types in a range 1 and 2 rule types in a range 2 and 2 rule types in a range 3. So we are done with 6 rule types. To check for the 6 rule types, we can go to manage rules, but you can see that only 3 is displayed here because it is selected as a current selection. If I go with selecting this particular drop down and select this workbook, you can see all the rule types, whatever we created now, that will be displayed to the user. So there are 6 different sets of rule types that is available in a top or a bottom rules that we discussed with 3 different types of ranges. And we have remaining 3 more set of conditional formatting. So everything will look similar, but the only difference is going to be we have to select a appropriate rule type. So I hope this will be useful to you all. So we discussed about highlight a sales rules based on a particular rule type, that is 7 different rule types, and the next state is top or a bottom rules. Either we are going to highlight the top value or we are going to highlight the bottom value. So this is the second type of conditional formatting. So I hope everyone is clear about the second type of conditional formatting, and the next type is going to be data bars. So data bars gains more importance and as well as it is more interesting. So we'll go with the data bars now. Go to data bars, you can see gradient fill, So I'm getting one query here. So Sajid, your question here is, could you please add some duplicate values into the data? So fine. So is a standard, it is a standard rule. Exactly, it is a standard rule, Sajid. Even though you have multiple values into it, when it finds highest and the least value, it will consider only the unique data, right? So it will consider only the unique data. If based on our condition, if the particular data falls under our condition, it will highlight all the duplicate values, right? I repeat, even though if you have a duplicate values in a data, for for the calculation, it will consider the unique value only, and then when it applies the conditional formatting, it will apply a formatting to all the duplicate values also, right? Thank you. So the next set is going to be the data bars. If I go to a data bars, I can see only a two different rule types that is available here. So we are selecting the entire range over here to understand this particular concept of a data bars. So you can see that there are two different options available here. The one is gradient fill and the next one is a solid fill. So if I go for a gradient fill, you can see that multiple colors can be filled for a single cell. If I go for a solid fill, you can apply only one color to the entire bar. So this is the difference. For a single bar, if you go with a gradient fill, you can apply a multiple colors, and if you go for a solid fill, you can able to apply a single color only. So this is the difference between two different kinds of fill. So let's go with the first type, that is gradient fill. Let's select the first rule here. It is going to be the same rule, but only thing you can see that bar color is different if I select a different comments over here. So let's go with any one of the color here. Click and you can see it in a help window. This particular bar is going to be green data bar. So the hint content is going to be view a colored data bar in the cell. The length of a data bar represents the value in a cell. The longer bar represents the higher value. So I will explain this particular concept here. I just selected the entire range. You can look for what is going to be the maximum value, 96, and the minimum value is going to be 100. So let's make it as maximum value as 100 so that we can understand this much better. So you can see that the maximum value is going to be 100 and the minimum value is going to be minus 100. If I go to condition formatting, data bars, and select a corresponding bar, you can see it in a system. I will just increase the column width so that we can understand this particular concept of a bar easily. See, as I told earlier, if you look into the status bar in this particular system, the maximum value is going to be 100 and the minimum value is going to be minus 100. You can see that when we apply a data bar, each cell you can see one dotted lines at the middle of a cell. So it means that it will try to bifurcate a single cell into a two different length. So the entire length is going to be, this is going to be 0. This dotted lines, the position is going to be 0. From here, the end, the highest is going to be the 100, and from the dotted line, the minus value is going to be the 100. So you can see that the highest value, you can see that the maximum value is 100. For 100, you can see that the data bar is filled completely. For 100, you can see that the data bar is filled completely with a gradient fill. And similarly, for a minus 100 value, you can see the value here, minus 100. For a minus 100, it will provide the gradient line from a 0th position to a negative, from a right towards the left. You can see it for a negative, and here left to right, you can see it for a positive value. So wherever the value that is positive, you can see that gradient fill is provided from a left to a right, and for a negative values it is right towards the left. So this is the difference between a positive and negative value in terms of data bar conditional formatting. And similarly, if I go for the value is 18, you can see that it starts from left to right, but the bar gradient fill, you can see it very less here, but if come back to the next cell, you can see it, the bar is completely filled, because the contribution here is just a portion of a value. So you are getting 18, here the contribution is 100, so it is the highest value. So you can see it as the gradient fill is completely filled. Answering to your questions, Abhiyullah, yes, you are correct. It is based on what is the percentage that is contributed. And answering to your question, Kamal, and where we can use this particular type of formatting. So when you work with any of Excel report in terms of values, say for example, you are working with the sales data, you want to analyze which employees performed well. You can use this particular concept of a data bar. You can use this particular gradient fill by looking into the data without reading the data. By looking into the data, you can see who performed well and who is performing not well. You can analyze the data, and we can use it for financial data also. Wherever you are having a negative value, you can use a different color to highlight that particular record set for a particular row of a data, and you can analyze which particular financial data performs well. Say for example, you can use it for invoice data as well. So which invoice is performed well, that is highest, and which invoice is not performed well, that is lowest. By looking into the data without reading the data, you can represent, or you can present this particular data to your management by providing some visual effects. So the actual is going to be the data that is available in a particular record set, but it is for a good visual. You can use it and showcase it to the management or a customer how it performs well, right? So as we discussed, we are going to discuss the concept of a pivot table and a pivot chart in our forthcoming sessions. So that is one type of visual, and using a conditional formatting, we know how to highlight some data based on a particular rule type, right? So based on a particular cell value only, we are going to highlight the entire cell based on a negative value or a positive value, and based on what is the percentage contribution with a different color set. So you can use it with a different places But these are all some few examples of reports where we can use this particular data bar. So it is not limited to just providing the data bar and providing the gradient fill for a positive value based on the percentage contribution, as well as if it is a negative value, it will apply some other color. Here by default, it takes a red color and also it highlights what is the contribution. So there are further customization we can provide here. As I told earlier, if you go to manage rules, if you click on a edit rule, you can do further customization to whatever the rule type that is applied by a user. So I will show you what kind of a further customizations we can do in this particular data bars. So here the format style, you can see it as a different types. So we look into it, the different styles in a forthcoming scenario. And here you can see the type is automatic. So type automatic in the sense it will look for the highest value and the lowest value. Based on that, it will provide. If I go with the different options here, something called as a number. If I provide a value as 20 and click OK, apply, and you can look for the what is the change that is happening. Let's change it to a 20. So if I provide a 20, you can see the value is going to be empty only. It is not. Sajid, answering to your question, we are not breaking this particular cell values into two parts. It is just applying one intersect line. We are not breaking the cell. The moment when we click on a data bars, the moment when you click on any of the data bars, automatically it will intersect one value. I'll go to edit rule. So let's change it to a automatic. Click OK, apply. You can see it now, Sajid. We are not intersecting the values manually. That intersection value, system will automatically insert one intersect line that will look like the column is bifurcated into two parts. But if I click on any one of a cell, F2, you cannot see that particular intersect line. Escape, because as we told earlier, the formatting that we do it on a Excel, that is applied only on the cell. I repeat, whatever the formatting we do it on a Excel, that is on the cell only. We cannot do it into the cell. So fine, I understand your question, Sajid. See, for this particular type, I will repeat this. I just cleared the formatting that is applied. You can follow it in my system. Go to data bars, select data bars of your choice, click OK, right? If I provide Control Z, you can see that there is no intersect values. The moment when I click on a data bar, system will automatically provide one intersect line for each column that will differentiate and displays positive values towards the right and negative values towards the left, with blue fill color for positive values and then red fill color for negative values. It will calculate the percentage contribution by each value. Here I given it as 100. So 18 is going to be 18%. So out of 18% with the entire cell, it will provide the blue colored gradient fill for a particular portion only. Right? For a negative values, you can see that it is highlighted with a red fill color. If the value is minus 45, you can see it is provided with the data bar to the partial of the cell, because the highest negative value is going to be 100. So minus 45 is almost a 50% only. So you can see almost 50% the data bar is available here. So this is the default. If you go to edit rule, if I click number, if I click a number, if I provide a 25 or whatever the value it is, here it is mentioned as minimum the value should be 25, then only the gradient fill will be applied. Click OK, click apply. You can see it now, click OK. You can see it now, wherever the value that is below 25, that value is not applied with a fill color. You can see it in a system. Even for a negative value, you cannot see any gradient fill, because minus 50 is less than a 25. So whatever the value, it is positive or a negative, if it is less than a 25, this particular gradient fill is not applied. So this is a kind of a customization you can make it. You can make it by going to manage rules, go to edit rule. So I'll just make it to automatic so that we can understand this particular concept better. So this is the one kind of a customization we can make it with a minimum or a maximum value, and you can see that bar appearance. So as I told, you can go with a gradient fill or a solid fill. If I go with a solid fill, if I click OK, click apply, you can see that that gradient fill is changed. The gradient fill is changed into a solid fill. So there is only one difference between a gradient fill with a solid fill. So there is no further changes with a gradient or a solid fill. Let's go with a gradient fill only. At any time you can change the color of a gradient. At any time you can change the color of a gradient. Let's go with the orange color, and you can see what is going to be the preview. You can see what is going to be the preview. This is going to be the color, and you can change the border color also. And you can see the preview as well here, and the bar direction, left to right or a right to left. If I make it as a right to left, you can see it. It starts from here and ends towards the 0. Click OK, click apply, click OK again. You can see it in a system that. So based on the customization we did, all the gradient color that is for a positive, that is displayed towards the left, and for a negative it is displayed towards the right. So this is the further customization we can do it. This is the further customization we can do it over here, and you can see it that negative value is in a red color only. We can change the color of negative values also. You can see something called negative value under axis. If you click on a negative value under axis, negative value and axis settings dialog box will be opened in a system now. You can see by default negative bar fill color. You can see by default Negative bar fill color is selected in a system. Fill color is by default it is red, so that's why red fill color is applied for a negative values. Click on a corresponding fill color and change color of your choice. So let's go by a green fill color. Click OK. Again click OK. Apply. Click OK. Now you can see that all the negative values in this particular range that is changed from a red color to a green color. So this is the further customization we can do over here. So what is the customization we discussed over here? Change bar position, that is interchange the positive values to a left and interchange the negative values towards the right, and we change the bar color for positive values and we change the bar color for negative values, and then we change the automatic to a custom value, that is we just chosen it as less than 25, don't consider. So that customization also we discussed over here. So like this, there are n number of customizations that can be performed on a particular data bar formatting. And go to negative value and you can see that axis setting. Select the axis position in a cell to change the appearance of a bar for a negative values. So if you select automatic, display at a variable position based on a negative values. So cell midpoint is going to be this particular position. If I go to none, show negative value bars in a same direction as positive. So far discussed about a different kind of further customizations we can do it for a data bar. Here if you go with show negative value bars also in the same direction as positive, click OK. Again click OK, click apply, and you can see now all the negative values and the positive values are arranged in the same direction but with a different fill color. So another customization going to be arranging a negative and positive value in a same direction itself. So these are all the different kind of customization we can perform on a particular range using a conditional formatting type, that is data bars, using a gradient fill we discussed. If you go with a solid fill, everything is going to be same. All the customization whatever we discussed now, everything is going to be the same. Only difference, instead of a gradient fill color, solid fill can be applied. So other than that, everything is going to be same only. So I hope everyone understand the particular concept of conditional formatting type 3, that is data bars. So please let me know if you have any doubts on this particular type data bars, or we can go to the next type of conditional formatting, that is color scales. Please confirm it in a chat window if you understand the concept of a data bars. Kamal, you can post your query here. Kamal, your query here, I have a doubt in a solid fill. Kamal, could you please post your query here? What is your query in a solid fill? Fine. So, as I told earlier that Kamal is asking us to repeat about the concept of a solid fill. If you go to a data bar, if you select any one of a solid fill, you can see that as like in a gradient fill. Gradient fill means like it is a combination of two colors, right? Gradient fill means it is a combination of more than one color. So that is a gradient fill. If it is a solid fill, it has only one color we can provide. Other than that, if you go to a manage rules, if you go to a edit rule, right? So all the options, whatever the customization we discussed, right? Everything is going to be the same. All the customization we discussed for a negative values and all the customizations we discussed about a bar direction and how to change the color and how to change the border color, everything is going to be same. So nothing is going to be the difference. The only thing here, the fill, solid fill or a gradient fill. If I go with a gradient fill, you can see the preview as green color with some other color. That is a fade color. You can look here. If I go with a solid color, you can see the entire bar is filled with a complete dark green color. So that is the difference. So there is no difference between a solid fill with a gradient fill other than selecting the color. Fine. So let's go to the next set of conditional formatting here. That is going to be color scales. To understand the concept of color scales, we'll select the entire range here in conditional formatting type 4. So we are discussed with the first three types. Let's go to the fourth type of conditional formatting. That is going to be the color scales. So in this particular concept of color scales, you can see there is different kind of rules we can apply with green, yellow, red colored scale, and then you can see green, red, yellow, green colored scale and goes on. So these are all the three colored scales, and if you come down, you can see blue, white, red colored scale, and if you come down again, you can see green, white colored scale. So it means that there are two sets of color scales you can apply. There are different color types we can see, and here if I select green, yellow, red colored scale, so it is a three colored scale. If I go with the last set, you can see it is a two colored scale, that is green or a white colored scale. So let's see one by one, that is two different, two colored scale or a three colored scale and how it works. So if I select the first rule, that is green, yellow and red colored scale, displays a two or a three color gradient in a range of cells. The shade of a color represents the value in a cell. So let's go by a default green. Let's go by a default, that is green, yellow and red colored scale. These particular three colors are applied three colors are applied to this particular range of a cell based on what is the value that is available in a cell. But we don't know how Excel applied this particular conditional formatting, right? But this particular formatting is applied. To understand how it works, navigate to a manage rule, and you can see conditional formatting. Rules manager is opened in a system, and go to a edit rule. And you can look for format style, that is 3-color scale or a 2-color scale. So let's start with a 3-color scale because we selected the rule type accordingly. It is green, yellow and red. And you can see that how Excel internally applies a conditional formatting with 3 different colors by a default. You can see that there are 3 different types that is used here. There are 3 different types that is used here. The first type is going to be the minimum, and the last type is going to be the maximum, and then one more type is going to be the midpoint. Since we are used with 3 different color sets, so for a highest value it applies a green color by default. For a lowest value it applies a red color. For a mid values it applies a yellow color. So this is the Excel by default it will take when we create this particular conditional formatting using a color scales. So what kind of customization we can perform? Let's see here what kind of customization we can perform on this particular range of cell that is selected. See, for a minimum lowest value, the color scale that is selected is red. Let's select some other color. Click OK, click apply. You can see that instead of a red color, you can see that the violet color is applied. But the violet color, you can see for the very least value, you can see that dark colored violet fill color is applied, and goes to a positive values or from a least value to the highest value. You can see the very light violet color is applied. So that is the gradient fill. You can see it in a system also here. Go to edit and change this particular yellow color into some other color of your choice. If I go with the blue color, click OK, apply. You can see that it is applied with the blue color. So you can change this particular color at any time. Click apply and again edit rule. You can select some other color for a highest value as well. Apply. Click OK. So this way you can able to customize the color scales of your choice at any time. So and you can see that the midpoint is going to be the percentage. Why it is taking 50 as a percentage? Let's see. If I select the entire range, you can see it here as the minimum value is going to be the -50 and the maximum value is going to be the -96. To understand this better, let's change any one of the value into 100. We'll change the negative values into positive values just to understand this particular scenario better. I'm just changing the negative values into a positive values. you can look into my system. If you look into my system, that the minimum value is going to be 1 and the maximum value is going to be the 100 and the average is going to be 45. And now go to conditional formatting, go to manage rules, go to edit rule, and you can see that it is taking the percentile as 50, because the highest value is 100 and the lowest value is going to be the 1. So it takes by default some value as 50. If I change it to 80, from lowest value till the value is 80, it assigns the violet color and the gray color that is selected here. To understand this, let's go with some other color, green here. So you can see that from a lowest value till the value that is 80, it will try to apply a green color only. From 81 to the highest value 100, you can see the yellow color. Click apply, you can see that wherever the value that is 80 and above, only then you can see the yellow color here, right? So you can see it in a system that which color is dominating high now. Which color is dominating high now? That violet color is dominating high because it has the lowest value at many of the occurrences in a particular range. So this way you can able to apply a 3-colored scale of your choice and you can highlight the fill color and then display to the user. Click OK, go to conditional formatting, go to clear rules, and let's clear the rules from the entire sheet because we are going to understand another color scale, that is 2-point color scale. I just selected a 2-point color scale. You can see that either a empty color or a green color is applied to this particular range of a cell. Go to conditional formatting, go to manage rules, click on a edit rule. So earlier it was selected a 3-color scale. Now it selected a 2-colored scale. The reason why it is selected a 2-colored scale because we selected the corresponding color scale as a 2-colored scale, and you can see the minimum value as lowest value and the highest value here, maximum and a minimum. Here you are not seeing the percentile as a midpoint because we are not going with a 3-colored scale. We are going with a 2-colored scale only. So as we discussed earlier, you can change the color of your choice at any time for a lowest and highest value. Click OK, click apply, click OK. You can see that based on the lowest value and the highest value, it applies the corresponding fill color, either a red or either a green. So when you are working with a Excel report, when it will be beneficial? Say for example, as we discussed earlier, you want to calculate the performance, or if you want to analyze the performance did by a sales team member. Say for example, you are having a 10 records for a 10 different sales member. You want to check who is performed well and who is not performed well with a different color. You can go with a green color for a highest performed well and the red color for a sales employee who is not performed well. So based on this particular color scales, you can able to highlight and showcase the particular data to the user. So this is the importance of going for a color scales conditional formatting, that is conditional formatting type 4. Is everyone understand this particular concept? Please confirm it in a chat window if you understood this particular concept of a color scales. Sajid, answering to your query here. So where we can apply this, as I told, I will just navigate to one of the sales value over here. Fine. So here you can see one of the sales amount range. Go to condition formatting, color scales, click OK, right? So you can see it here by looking into this particular range without reading the value. You can see which particular sales is the highest and which is going to be the lowest. Let me go to manage rules. Let's provide the lowest color value also. Click OK. So by looking into this, you can see that which particular sales amount is the highest and which particular sales amount is the lowest. So wherever you see it as a dark red, so these are all performed very less, and wherever you see it in a green, it means that it performed very well or the highest. Wherever you see the combination of red and green, it is a moderate color. You can see these particular sales are performed average. So by without reading the actual values, you can able to understand by looking into the visual using the concept of a conditional formatting color scales. Thank you. So the next concept here is going to be the conditional formatting type 5. Conditional formatting type 5, that is something called as icon sets. To understand this, let's select the entire range. So I just selected the entire range here. Go to conditional formatting and select the corresponding conditional formatting type, that is going to be icon sets here. Icon sets. You can see the different sets of rules that is available in icon sets. One is directional, and the next one is shapes, and the next one is indicators, and the last one is ratings. So there are 4 different kinds of rules that is available in a icon sets conditional formatting type. So to understand this particular 4 different icon sets, let's create a 4 different range so that we can understand this particular concept better. So the first one is going to be icon set directional. So let's provide the name for this. Directional icon set. One second, I will be back. So the first set of icon set is going to be directional. To understand this, let's select the entire range go to conditional formatting, go to icon sets, and you can see the rule type as directional. You can see there are different commands available in a directional. If you select any one, you can see based on the values available here, Excel by default it will assign a particular directional value based on the value that is available in a cell. So there are 7 different kinds of rules that is available in a directional. So let's go with the first directional, that is 3 arrows colored. Displays an icon from the above icon set in each cell. Display an icon from the above icon set in each cell. Each icon represents the value in a cell, but we never assigned a value range for each set. Excel by default it will take the value. To understand this, how Excel it takes by default, as we discussed, go to a manage rule, click on a edit rule. When you click on a edit rule, you can see what is the format style that is selected, as well as what is going to be the icon style. So icon style as well as the format style that is selected will be displayed to the user. If you want to change it, you can select here and you can change the icon style. And below you can see how Excel by default is selected. For an icon up arrow, if you click, you can look it below that you can further customize and change the icon color set at any time. Let's go with the default. We'll understand how Excel assigned a value. When value is greater than or equal to 67, value is greater than or equal to 67, it applies a up arrow icon set. When a value is less than 67 and greater than or equal to 33, it will apply a yellow colored right arrow. Similarly, the red colored down arrow will be applied when a value is less than 33. These are all the Excel by default. It will assign a icon set. You can customize this particular value at any time. You can make it as, if the value is greater than or equal to 50, apply a up arrow green colored icon set. You can see that Excel internally it changes the next rule type. When it is less than 50, because we assign it as greater than or equal to 50, and by default it will look for a value that is less than 50 between and greater than or equal to 33. You can see it as this particular yellow colored right arrow. Similarly, you can see the type. It will calculate a percentage. If the value is 67% contribution, then applies this. If you want to change it to a number, you can change it as a number. Greater than or equal to number 90. Wherever it sees a value that is greater than or equal to a 90, provide a up arrow green color. When a value is less than 90, greater than or equal to 10, apply with a right arrow with a yellow color. When less than 10, apply a down arrow red color. Click OK, apply, click OK. You can see that wherever the value is greater than or equal to 90, then only you can see it is a up arrow icon set, wherever the value that is less than or equal to 10, you can see it for a negative value, you can see it as a down arrow red color because it is less than 10. For all other values, you can see it as a yellow colored right arrow. So this way you can able to apply a icon state directional, and you can go to manage rules, go to edit rule, and you can make the further customizations at any time. Here you can see something called as show icon only. If I click on a show icon only, click OK, click apply, and then click OK, you can see that only the icon sets will be displayed to the user. You can see that only the icon sets will be displayed to the user, not the value. Right? So when I click on a show only the icon sets, you can see only the icon sets that is displayed to the user. If I go and select any one of a cell, press F2. If I go inside a cell, I can able to see what is the value of a cell. So it is a standard rule, as we are discussing all the time, that whatever the formatting we do it on a particular cell, that is applicable only on the cell. If you go inside a cell, you cannot see the further value. I mean the formatting that is applied, that can't be shown to the user. Only if you come out of a cell, then only you can see the formatting that is applied to a particular cell. Similarly, the next set of icon set, that is something called as shapes. Select a corresponding range, go to conditional formatting, go to a icon sets shapes. So you can select any of the shape of your choice. So let's go with something called as 3 traffic lights rimmed. Displays an icon from the above icon set in each cell. Each icon represents a value in a cell. So in all the conditional formatting we do, it is based on a value in a cell only. So we are applied with the shapes icon set. Go to conditional formatting, go to manage rules, and go to edit rule, and you can see how this particular rule type is applied, how the particular rule type is applied. So based on the percentage greater than or equal to 67%, green color will be applied, and similarly based on less than 67% and greater than or equal to 33%, you can see it in a yellow color. You can select this particular button, and you can change the icon set into different type at any time of your choice. As we discussed, if you select a show icon only, you can see that only the icon sets, not the values. If I click on a reverse icon order, you can see it. By default, it will throw red, yellow, and green. If I click on a reverse icon set, reverse icon order, you can see it red at the below and green at the top. You can change by this way also at any time. Click OK, click apply, click OK. You can see that based on the customization we perform, you can see that particular conditional formatting named as shapes icon set is applied. Similarly, we have another two kind of a set, that is indicators and ratings. Indicators type, and you can select, there are three types of indicators that is available. You can select any of the indicator of your choice. So this is also going to be the same kind of a rule. Just go to edit rule and you can change the icon set of your choice. Since we discussed two times how we can do a particular customization, so let's go to the next type. The last one is going to be the ratings. So based on a cell value, the ratings will be displayed. Go to manage rules, click on edit rule. We know when value is greater than or equal to 67%, provide this particular color. When a value is less than 67 and greater than or equal to 33%, provide this particular icon. So as we discussed, you can change this particular color at any time. You can change. Right? The moment when we change this particular icon set from one set to a multiple set, you can see the icon style is changed into a custom. The icon set is changed into a custom. Earlier it showed what is the icon style. Now it is just showing it as a custom, because this particular star is a ratings and this one is going to be a and this particular button is going to be a shape, and then this particular class is going to be the indicators. So we used indicators as well as the shapes as well as the ratings icon set to a one particular range. So it is changed into a, when you go to edit rule, the icon style is going to be the custom. It is not a rating, it is not an indicator, it is a combination of more than one icon set. So that's why you can see it as a custom. You can change it into reverse order any times. You can click on a show icon only at any times, and you can change the values, and you can change the type as a percentage to a number at any time. So these are all the further customizations we can perform on a particular cell. I hope this particular concept is clear to all, that is conditional formatting type 5. So please confirm it in a chat window if you understand this particular concept of icon set. Then we can move to the last type in a conditional formatting, that is something called as conditional formatting using a formula. I hope everyone understands this particular concept now. Fine. We'll go to the last type of conditional formatting here. So that is going to be conditional formatting using a formula. how to do a conditional formatting using a formula. So before we solve this particular scenario, let's understand let's understand how this particular scenario works, what we are going to make out of it. So here, this is a particular table we have in our case. Wherever you see the region name is north, wherever you see the region name is north, apply a red fill color. Apply a red fill color to a sales column. So we know the concept of a conditional formatting based on a text. If a text is equal to north, apply a red fill color. Select the particular range, go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, text that contains, we discussed earlier. If it is north, provide with some fill color. Again, go to conditional formatting, text that contains, make it as south, click OK. So we are done with the fill color. Again, go to conditional formatting, go to highlight cell rules, text that contains, make it as a west. For a west, we'll select some other. Click OK. And the last, text that contains east. Click OK. So this way, by selecting the range, go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and the rule type as text that contains, we can able to apply a fill color based on what is the value that is available in a cell. Based on what is the value that is available in a cell, we can able to apply a fill color to a same range that is selected. That we are clear about this particular concept. But the concept here is wherever the region name is north, I want to apply a red fill color. We know how to apply a red fill color for a north, but based on the value north, I am going to apply a fill color to the sales. It means that I am going to select a different column now, that is sales. But I am going to apply a conditional formatting fill color based on the value in some other cell. So that is the scenario. So you can read the scenario here. Format cell based on value in another cell. Format a cell based on value in another cell. So that is going to be the concept here. Based on what is the value available in this particular region, we are going to apply a fill color for a range cells. I hope everyone is clear about this particular scenario here. Fine, because understanding the scenario is more important before we proceed with this particular concept of a formula. Let's go to a manage rules. Click on a new rule and you can see at the end something called as use a formula to determine which cells to format. You can see a particular rule type here, something called as use a formula to determine which cells to format. So what is the formula? As we discussed earlier, to activate any formula or a function, we have to start with the equal to. So what is the formula? Region value that is A2. Let's type it, that is A2. A2, what is the value of A2 here? North. North is going to be the value equal to north. So this is the formula we are going to apply over here. If the region value is equal to north, that is the formula. Region value, why we are given it as a A2, why not A1? Because A1 is not a value, it is the header of this particular range. So the actual value begins from A2 only. So the actual values begin from A2. So we just selected or given A2 equal to the value is north. If a A2 value is north, format this particular sales value that is selected range into a red fill color of your choice. Click OK, click apply. You can see it in a system now. Wherever the region name is north, you can see that the sales value is highlighted with a red fill color. But when you look into the formula, we given it as a A2 equal to north only. A2 equal to north only. But how Excel considers A3, A4, A5 till A19 here? How it considers? As we all know that when we are using a relative reference means we are not fixing any of the reference. When we use this particular formula in any other place, the reference will keep changing. So A2 becomes A3 and A4 and becomes A19. And why and how it considers till A19? Because if you see the selection here, we selected from A2 to A19. It means that it will select from starting of the selected range to end of the range. So what is the end row? It is 19. So based on what is selected here, it will consider for a relative reference and it will display the value. Click OK, click apply. I hope everyone is clear about this particular rule type, how we applied. To understand this, we have remaining 3 more rule types. Click on a new rule, use a formula equal to again a A2. Why I am giving again a A2? Because here the region value is going to be north. But if you change the value into some other region, then again we have to consider the formula to be written from A2 only. Always, whenever you create any new formula, you have to create from a first rule type only. Always you have to repeat from a first type only. A2 equal to the second rule is going to be forest south. Forest south yellow fill color. Click OK, apply. New rule again. Formula to determine. Again from a A2. Always we are starting our rule type with a A2 cell only. Click on a waste, go to format and select a corresponding fill color. Green, click OK and then click on a apply. And the last rule type is going to be use the formula equal to A2 equal to the last region is going to be east and the format is going to be the blue color. Click OK and then click on apply, click OK. Now you can see that based on the value in a region range, the sales range values are getting formatted with conditional formatting. using a concept of something called as use a formula to determine which cells to format. I hope everyone is clear about this particular concept of using a formula to do a conditional formatting. Please let me know if you have any doubts. I am seeing some queries over here. Sudeep, answering to your question, you can see that for north, wherever the region name is north, you can see it is applied with only the red fill color. To check it manually, I will go to, let me apply a filter. If I select the region name is north, click OK, you can see it is applied with only one fill color. Similarly, if I select some other, you can see right. So if you check it manually, you can use the concept of a filter and you can check it whether it works or not. Sajid, are you clear now? Still you have any doubts here? I hope everyone is clear about this particular concept. So I'm going to share this particular workbook to you all at the end of the session. You can give it a try offline for a practice. So Sajid, your question here, what happens if you were to put the column range? So you mean to say that instead of a A2, you want to select from a A1? Sajid, just confirm if you want to, why we are selecting A2 for each formula? Yes. Kamal and Sajid, just follow my screen. Because A1, that is the first row, it has only headers. Our actual value begins only from a A2. So the sales value also begins from a A2 only. So that's why we are starting our formula from a A2 only. You can ask me a question, right? So we are giving only the formula for a A2. I am not giving a formula for a A3 until A19. But how it works? As we discussed earlier, that relative reference concept, the same is applied also here. How it works? If you apply A2 equal to some region name, when you click OK or apply, whatever the range that is selected, for the entire range, the formula will get applied. A2 becomes, check for a A2, what is the region, do a formatting. Check for a A3, what is the sales value or a region name, format it. Check for a A2, if condition is true, format it. If condition is false, skip and go to the next region till A19. So it is the concept of a relative reference. I hope everyone is clear now. Kamal, are you clear now why we are selecting A2 for each formula? We are applying a formula or a condition all the time from a beginning of a cell only. Right? Fine. So we have remaining 3 more topics, something called as format painter, multiple values, and then transformation. So we have three more topics that is planned for today. We'll discuss that. Format painter, concept of a format painter. You can see under a home command tab, under a clipboard command set, you can see something called as format painter. So what is the help content available for a format painter? Copy formatting from one place and apply it to another. That is one help. And the next one help content is double click this particular button to apply the same formatting to multiple places in the document. So there are two different kind of actions one can perform. There are two different kind of actions one can perform here. So what are the two different kind of actions we can perform? To understand this, we'll apply a conditional formatting. We applied with a conditional, one format we did, that is yellow color, fill color we applied. Just select on a cell, click on a format painter. If you come down, you can see that with a mouse cursor plus icon, you can see one painter tool also activated. If you click on select any one of a cell, you can see that a particular formatting, whatever that is available in a A1, that is applied to a E4 now. That is applied to a E4 now. Now click again. Click on a format painter. Again, a painter tool is activated. If you select on any one of a cell, that a formatting can be applied. So this is the use of going for a format painter. And similarly, if you double click on a format painter, select a particular formatting, click on any one of a cell, you can see that formatting is applied. If you, after I apply a formatting to one cell, still that format painter is activated. If I click again on any one of a cell, keep selecting any of the cell or a range, you can see that the painter is applying a formatting to a cells or a range that is selected by a user, but still it is in a active mode. Wherever you select a range or a cell, it is getting applied. How to deactivate? Press escape key. That's it. So this is the two different kinds of formatting can be applied using a concept of a format painter. If you use a format painter tool, that will apply a formatting that is available in a one cell to another cell. If you double click on a format painter, you can read the hint. Double click, it will keep apply a formatting till you press a escape key. It will apply a formatting to a cell or a range till you press a escape key. So this is the use of going for a format painter, and two different ways we used here. It is a very simple concept, but it is powerful command that we can use it to format. I hope everyone is clear about this particular concept now. Fine. Santosh, Santosh answering to your query. So you are supposed to join session 7 and fine. We are going to have the session 7 by 12:30 p.m. today. So that particular session will be in another half an hour. So you can join to a particular session with a corresponding link after 30 minutes. So you can rejoin after 30 minutes. Santosh? Okay, fine. So you can join by 12:30. In another 30 minutes, you can join. Fine, thank you. And the next two topics here. So let me take another few minutes to finish this particular topic. Here you can see something called as the concept of multiple values. So here, if I click F2, you can see that Excel 2010. It is a single string or a text that is available into a cell. But if I press escape, you can see that Excel and 2010 as a separate cell. It is bifurcated into two different positions into a cell, and you can display it to the user. How we can do this particular kind of formatting? To understand this, let's select, type some value in a cell, go to format cells. Sorry, go to format cells, go to alignment and change this particular text alignment horizontal into a distributed, and go to border and then select this particular kind of a border so that it will look like it is bifurcated. So if you increase the row height and the column width, so based on the row height and the column width, it will allocate you can see what kind of changes that is happening in the system now. So based on the customization we do here, that will distribute. So if I distribute vertical also, click OK. Now you can see it in a system how it is bifurcated. So it is useful to a user when they are working with a table of data like this. Table of data like this. They will be having some column values and row values here. Like this, they can distribute a single cell into a two different cell as a visual, and they can provide the value to the user. So this, in this particular case, you can go to a format cells and you can change the alignment into horizontal also distributed and vertical also distribute. We are just distributing a single cell into a multiple bifurcation, and go to a border and you can select border values of your choice. Click OK. Say for example, you will be having a serial number with here. So serial number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here is 2015 and 2016, 2017. Right. So when you are working with creating a table, so you want to provide a serial number row wise, and here in a column wise, you can go for this particular concept of multiple values into a single cell by changing the alignment into a distributed mode. I hope this particular concept will be helpful to you all. And if you want to apply any color over to this, go to format cells, go to fill, go to fill effects, and you can provide the different colors as well of your choice. So you can select any color of your choice. Click OK, again click OK. You can see that you can able to apply a gradient color also. So this way you can able to add multiple values into a single cell. For a user, it will look like a single cell is distributed into a multiple cell values. I hope this particular concept is clear to you all, multiple values concept. And the last topic for the day is going to be something called as transformation. So transformation, here you can see particular table, copy a table and select any other location here. Use Control plus Alt plus V. You can see that one dialog box named as Paste Special will be opened in a system. You can see something called as transpose. If you click OK, you can see that the value that is arranged in a row will be rearranged into a column, and the column value will be rearranged into a row. First, select a range. After you select a range, copy a range, use Control plus Alt plus V. First select a range, copy a range, use Control plus Alt plus V. Paste Special dialog box will be opened. Select a transpose. So that will change the column into rows and rows into columns. So this way you can able to transpose the data in a Excel. So I hope this particular concept is clear to you all. So we are done with today's topic, conditional formatting 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then conditional formatting with a formula, and then format painter, transformation, and then multiple values. So please let me know if you have any doubts in any of the scenarios. If everybody understand this particular concept which we discussed today, please confirm it in a chat window. Please confirm it in a chat window if you are able to understand all the scenarios. So I'm going to share this particular workbook to you all. So still if you have any clarification required, you can go through this particular workbook. I am given all the hint and a shortcut that is required or a steps. You can give it a try. Kamal, answering to your question, I'm going to share this particular workbook to you all. So I'm given the hint over also there. You can give a try offline. Still, if anyone has any doubts, you can request a Manipal team. Sudeep, we are going to discuss a VLOOKUP not in this particular session. We are going to see that in a forthcoming session, not now. In a further session, we are going to cover VLOOKUP. We are not cover VLOOKUP so far. Right? So thanks all for joining. We'll meet again next week for session 5. Till then, give a try offline, practice well, utilize this particular forum completely to understand the Excel concept before you appearing for an exam. So try to utilize all the course materials, that is available in EduNext portal as well. So practice well, and we can meet again next week for a session 5. Till then, bye all, have a nice weekend.